So we emphasize that, you want to make small gains. Like today, I made 2 small gains. It was about 20 pips, 27 pips, which doesn't mean anything to all you need to do is it's $20 for every one of those.
Okay.
So I made $540 in 3 minutes.
For those of you I haven't met yet, my name is Brian Chamberlain, and I'm one of the founders here at TraDeca. Over the years, I've had the privilege of working with leaders across a number of different industries, athletes, marketplace entrepreneurs, creatives, all focused on one simple question. How do you build systems that actually create freedom? Because talent alone isn't enough. Motivation alone isn't enough. What changes lives are systems. And that's exactly why tonight matters. Because the person you're about to hear from isn't just someone who studies the markets. He's someone who built a repeatable framework for navigating them. Now, before we go any further, I want to show you something that will probably feel very familiar if you've ever tried to learn trading. There are generally 2 types of students. The first one is what we call the system student. This person follows the complete framework: strategy, systems, support. They track their trades, they submit data, they review their sessions. Why? Because coaches can only correct what they can see. And over time, that creates 3 things: consistency, clarity, and measurable progress. But then there's a second type: the independent path student. This person experiments constantly, tweaks the framework, skips data submission, tries to innovate before mastering the basics. And eventually, they ask the same question most traders ask at some point: why isn't this consistent? And the truth is simple. Innovation is welcome, but proven means something very specific. Back-tested, forward-tested, broker verified. Until then, it's just theory. So instead of just telling you how the system works, let's look at someone who actually applied it. Harry approached the markets the way a system student does. He followed the framework, tracked his data, executed with discipline. He followed the framework, and in one example session, Harry captured 27 pips. In our funded account structure, that translated to about $540 in roughly 3 minutes. Now, the number isn't what matters. What matters is the process behind it. And that process is exactly what we're going to unpack tonight, because what you're about to see isn't just a trade idea. It's a part of a larger framework we call the trading blueprint. And at the end of this event, we're going to make that blueprint available for everyone who stayed with us through the training. So if you're here to understand how the system actually works, you're in the right place. All right, let's get into the framework itself. Welcome to TraDeca, a prosperity movement. And Mr. Harry Blondell has been with us since December. This is an individual who tripled his account within 6 weeks and is now completely smoking it in multiple different ways, from a leadership standpoint, you name it. And we talk a lot about the champions. We talk a lot about those that are coming in here and really honing in on that team mentality. When you're coming in here, you're coming in as a family and as a team. So we're starting to see a lot of captains and assistant captains coming out of the framework. And so, Harry, you got the cup this week, Captain of the Week. Awesome to have you.
If you are members, Harry's a wonderful example of how to see results faster. And if you're not working with us yet, Harry's also a great example of what to do once you join in order to get faster results. Okay, so either way you look at it, Harry's a good example. The benefit of talking to someone like Harry is he just started in December, so he's not even like super epic pro trader like James. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's a new trader and doing well, and that's kind of the point. So
Okay.
Very good. Well, Harry, why don't you just tell us a little bit about you? Who's Harry?
Yeah, so I live outside of Washington D.C. Been in the area for most of my life. And it's interesting. I found Zach and Brian and Travis a year ago or so, and said, in December I revisited, started talking to them, and said, I'm going to do this. And my background is I'm in sales. I've been in sales most of my life. I've worked for various companies, some of which, like you probably know, whether it's in solar or leaf, in gutter protection, Bing, and real estate. I actually did sell commercial and residential real estate for a period of time. So, but yeah, I mean, the great part about this, what I was looking for was something that would give me the ability to make a significant impact, or significant income as well, and not have the time commitments that I was having as a road warrior. And in sales, if you have any idea what that is, you get up in the morning and you drive to an appointment and you sit around, take care of that. You drive to another one. So there's a lot of dead time. And it was just looking for a better way to earn a living. So
how many of you guys fit in that boat? You're looking to have a greater income, greater impact, less work hours.
Yeah. The great part is being able to work from wherever you want.
Yeah.
So you just need an internet connection and a computer, and you're good to go. Sweet. So that's the other great thing. And then what I did was, when I decided to do this, I dove in. I absorbed all the information I could, not as fast as I could, because I'm not that fast, but I do repeat things a lot. So I was back, I would look at some of the training videos, and I'd watch it again. I'd take notes to it. Then I'd watch it maybe a third time, and I'd watch it at a little higher speed, like 1.5 times or 1 3/4 speed, and then stop when there was something that I needed to highlight to fill in the gaps. So that's sort of how I did it. But I'm a little dyslexic, so I need to do that sometimes because I'll put things backwards. And then I started really just trying to really understand some of the strategies. The people here will help you no matter what. You don't understand what somebody's saying, what an EMA is, or what divergence is, or what resistance is, or what's a signal, and you'll get that. And at first, it's going to be a little strange, but I was able to divergence. Once I got divergence down in my head, it made all the difference in the world. Because I can see it every time I look at a chart. And sometimes I'll just turn them on and, oh, there it is, So again, that's really how I did it. So I've been fortunate enough to be great or to have great teachers, and plus the plan that's put together is awesome.
And Harry, you had some experience prior though as well, right? Like you've tried this before and you've done a little bit, so you had some experience.
I actually didn't have as much directly with this. I did play with it. I did look at some of this stuff. I used to watch. When I used to have to do about a 3-hour drive every day. So I'd watch YouTube videos, and I think his name is Tio or something like that. And his, classes on pips and the market. And I think he gets sponsors by Owanda or whatever, which is one of the brokers out there. But it's not the same thing. Because you don't understand. There's no strategy to it. All you know is that the market goes up. The market goes down, you can enter, so you don't really understand maybe stop loss and things like that. Now, I've used stop loss in my stock trading. So I read Bill O'Neill's book many years ago. I think it's How to Make Money in Stocks. And, he emphasized if it's declined 7%, sell it. You love it, you can get back into it. And that's just because in that world, if you lose 50%, you have to make 100% to get back to zero.
That's rough.
Yeah, it is.
That's a concept that when I heard somebody explain it, it's a simple one, but it's not what a lot of people think about. Like with the idea of like a mutual fund that you might invest into that goes up by 10% one year and down by 10% the next. They don't realize that's not a washout. That's a loss. That's the same, because 10% on a higher value the next year is now more than what you originally put in. So that's basically the same concept that you just described, and I think that's, the overall consensus of just about most things that we teach is it's not overly complicated, but you do need to understand it.
Yeah. I think I read something where Shakespeare came up with about 1,600 new words in his writings, and I think James probably is close to that. With new words. One of my favorite is fobbering. So I tend to fobber a lot. So and it's it's great.
Ah, man, that's so cool. And this week it was fun. Again, you started off with a $500 balance, and you started with your own principal, and you basically, last time we chatted, it was like at 2,700. Have you still been trading that account, or did you move on to fully on the other?
No, I am still trading that account. It's at like 43.71 rate as of today.
I'm trying to think of the percentage of growth that you got going on there, bro.
Wait. When did you start that account?
Well, actually, I guess it was about 4 weeks ago. Yeah,
4 weeks ago.
But I don't trade every day either. If I don't feel comfortable, I throw my hands up and say, I'll just watch.
That's awesome.
That's a big lesson for a lot of people to learn, that you're not clocking into a 9-to-5 job. Just because you showed up doesn't mean that you're walking away with profit. You've got to be able to make those decisions when you see the markets are not behaving, when the stars are not aligned. Just don't trade.
Yeah, exactly.
Learn not to lose.
Well, it's very well known in our community that you should not even push a button tomorrow at all.
Yeah.
Right. You want to go ahead and sit and look and see what it's like to be a part of a moody market, then go ahead. You want to watch your kids scream? Go do that. But
it's a good comparison. I always think about this is learning to surf. You don't go to Nazaré and learn to surf. If you're familiar with the waves there, where they have these 100-foot waves, you're gonna just die, and that's what'll happen if you try to get into a market that's very very erratic. So
yeah. Unpredictable. Well, So just for context, the ROI on that is 840% in 4 weeks. And now you're using.
And now he also cracked his first $500 day this week on a prop firm account.
Actually, I had 890 the first day I did it, and then I didn't trade for a little bit because of just some things going on. But it had another $540 one Tuesday and $460 today.
That's nice.
480. I'm sorry.
How many trades?
Oh, how many? That was one. 480 was one. The 540 was two, and the 890 was three.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple small losses here and there too. If it goes the wrong way, I'd rather get out and re-enter than.
That's 10 to 20 pips per trade.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. You're not.
And I was explaining to somebody earlier too. When I started with my own account, I was using really small. I was using like 0.1 pips. And you're like, well, that's awful small. We usually try like 0.5. But I was doing it because I wanted to feel comfortable with. But as you move up in the size of the lot, you can still have the same goal of just 10 pips a trade or 10 pips a session. And, as the lot gets bigger, the money gets bigger.
What gate are you on?
I'm actually not following the gates as closely as I should. I think it's at like gate 5, but again, I tell you, I'm taking a little slower than it.
He's out.
Yeah.
Never mind. Never mind.
He's going slower. You mean that you're being a little bit more conservative?
That's right.
Oh my Lord.
So you're not. You're basically not. You're not moving up in the gates as fast as the gate system is outlined.
Right, exactly.
Okay. That's totally acceptable. That's totally fine.
But if I go the same percentage over the course of a year, half the percentage over the course of a year, you can do the math. It's huge.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about with the gate system, essentially James has created a meaningful way to know when you can basically prove to yourself that you can actually crank up your lot size. And so what that means is the lot size is essentially the amount of stake per pip that you're trading. So if you gain 10 pips and you have $1 per pip, you get $10, right? If it's $10 a pip, $100, $20 a pip, $200 for the same 10 pip move. Okay. And so what James has done is he created a system that he calls the gate system, where it starts you off at 50 cents a pip. And so that way you trade that. And if you get 40 pips without losing 15, that's the catch. You get 40 without losing 15. You've proven to yourself that, hey, you know what? I can trade consistency at this level. Time to crank it up to $1, right? And then you do it again. Time to crank it up to 2, to 5, to 10, etc. And so it's just a process for how to scale, assuming that you can continue to prove that you're trading well and you're executing properly.
As compared to feeling ready. Like, I feel like I did pretty good this week. I feel like I can go ahead and increase my lot size. Feelings really have no place in the markets or in your own trading plan. So it's a data-driven approach. When Zach says meaningful, it really is. It's what does your data say? Are you ready to move forward, or do you feel ready? It's a very, very big difference. I felt like I was ready to drive my car or a car whenever I was like 10 years old. I was like, Dad, why do I have to wait till I'm 16? It's like there's reasons. Feelings don't really predict your success. So we want to look at the data. What does it actually say?
Yeah. So that's really cool. So take us back. You signed up in December your first trade was like December 4th or something like that. I remember.
Right.
I remember because I was keeping my eye on you. When you first started to trade, you already mentioned how you went through the videos 2, 3, sometimes more times. When you actually started clicking the buttons. So one of the things, Brian shared that video of you talking to that other guy. One of the things you said in there is you said, don't think. And James says that a lot. How do you interpret that phrase? Like, what does that mean?
Because and I think James says this, but I've heard it as well, is the market's going to do what it's going to do. You can't think it to do something different. You can think it might do this and you can think it might do that, but the bottom line is it's going to do whatever it wants. And if you follow it and you see the trend, then you can ride that trend. But yeah, no. And I taught scuba diving. I've got 3,500 log scuba dives in my career, and probably did a lot more that I didn't log. And one of the things that I would stress when I was teaching it is, you dive your plan, and you plan your dive and dive your plan, and you just enjoy the ride when you're along the way. And the same thing is here. If you plan out what you're going to do as your trade, and your plan isn't going to work, then you don't trade. If your plan's like going sideways for whatever reason, then just stop and then, come back another day or wait for another, 15-minute cycle or, the profit pocket as I learned. And, that's what you do.
To really drive that home.
Yeah.
The plan is to follow the road. Right. But what happens if there's like a pile up in front of you? Do you continue on your plan to follow the road lines, or do you maybe find an alternate route? Which for most of the time, you should just stop, right? I think people need to understand that is that you can only plan so much until the market actually shows what it has in store, right? So you plan to also avoid those accidents and those times where things are not going to work exactly how they should. Again, are the stars aligned? Are these things pointing towards the direction that I should place this trade? And if the answer is ambiguous or at all a no, then you shouldn't place the trade, right? This is called discipline. And
but James talks a lot about, he references a lot of driving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
he does.
He's a really great reference towards that.
I remember when I first saw a chart and it was Zach showing, it's saying things that are just now so clear as day. It just makes sense. He was showing me and I'm looking and I'm like, I don't understand anything you're talking about. And I was really scared. Like the charts intimidated me, but when it clicked, I was like, oh, that's like really simple. Like it was a shocker to me how much that, I don't know if it was just me being silly, use that word, or what it was, but there was a very big disconnect that caused fear for me. Do you remember how, or if there were any parts like that for you? Was there anything that you thought was going to be way harder or way more scary or something? And it was just like, I'm on the small waves.
No. I actually was overwhelmed when I looked at it at first, and then I stopped looking at it, and actually learned basically one of the strategies that Janelle and Matt, we're coaching on, T2B2, and I just said, you know what? Let me just learn this. And then I started looking at the charts again after I had a little knowledge, and that feeling of being overwhelmed, like this is never going to work. Like, what did I do? And it clicks. Mm-hmm. And then, you switch and you learn, the advanced strategy to that, and you learn some other things. And yeah, but I definitely can tell you, you look at it, you see these numbers going up and down. You're like, what? It doesn't make any sense, because they go the opposite. They go one way and then another way. And then or they don't do anything. They're just kind of going in a real little channel. So yeah, until you know what you're seeing, it's hard.
Yeah. But I like what you said though, in that intro where you were expressing that, it's going to feel that way, but you just showed up, and you also expressed that, like, it's not like you showed up grinding gears. You methodically had a plan that this is what I'm going to soak in, and I'm going to do this. And like, yeah, I don't know if you were also, while you were driving or while you were going for walks or what have you. Like, I like to soak in information while I'm moving. Everybody's a different kind of learner, but for me, audiobooks are my favorite. My wife needs to read a book directly from a book and needs to sit down and go to that. I'll fall asleep if I do that. So yeah. That's the best thing for me to do before bed. But if I really want to learn, I got to move, and I put it through my ears and that kind of thing. So it kind of sounds like is that a similar approach for you, or what kind of learner have you identified for yourself?
Well, I'm a little ADD OCD combined, and so if I let my OCD kick in, then I'm good to go, because then I can just focus in and do it. And I sometimes, and if you call me or talk to me and you hear music in the background, I have to do that because I have to get more noise in my head, so that way I'm not thinking about stuff.
Right.
But and then I apply that to trading. So
right. Yeah.
But yeah, if I walk and do that, then my ADD picks up and it's like squirrel, Yeah.
And when you say that the education is doing a pretty good job of, again, because we pride ourselves on great education, but at the end of the day, it's not just education, it's support and accountability, and it's guidance and all those things through the calls.
I'm a great person too. Like, if I think I know what it is, but I still will ask a question like I don't know. Yeah. And so in that sense, that and I can't tell you, there's been nobody here that's ever not gotten back to me, followed up, sat on the phone or sat on the webinar until I completely understood and all my questions were answered. So yeah, but that to me is worth every penny.
And you're the person that also has reached out though too. I've been more than happy to jump. We're happy to jump. I think that some people don't realize that sometimes, is that we're here to help support you through that process. So that's awesome. Yeah. And great for you for engaging. One of the things that I'm curious about, Zach, and I know we didn't, prep for this concept, but I know that James called a very serious play this week. So one of the things that I was hoping to maybe do is to bring that up on screen, talk about that a little bit, and maybe also, Harry, you're welcome to continue to engage and kind of throw in wherever you feel we can play some catch here. And then, maybe we can talk a little bit more about the live calls. But what I'm really excited about is the concept that we are going to, well, not just the concept, this is what we're going to start doing, is James over the years has called out long swing trades. And so in the toolkit that you get access to today, I believe at some point we're going to have bells, and that bell's going to go off to let you know that you can enter for a long swing trade. Who here would love that kind of notification, knowing that you can set it and forget it?
Me, I remember talking to James a few years ago about Bitcoin. And I was like, I think everything that I'm looking at, I'm going to put some money in there. He goes, oh yeah, me too. Keep it in for a few months. It's going up. And I made a lot of money with that. I went from, I put it in at 24, I think, or 23. It went to well over 100. I was like, oh my gosh, man. Like, I love James's calls. Love them.
Yeah. Yeah. So Zach, do you have that on file for us here?
I do. So, actually, I might want to pull it up not in my little editor here. Hold on. Let me,
While you're pulling that up, do you have any, like, just thoughts or feedback on the calls so far, Harry, that you've been able to, because where are you cashing in mostly? Is it mostly on live calls? You doing this all by yourself? Like, how are you?
Well, it's funny. So like today, James, I was on James's call because I hadn't actually been on a call of his all week. And he was talking about, well, wait, I like the Dow. I like the Dow looks good to me. He's got his calls in. I'm not paying attention to the NAS. And I, at the times, or over the last week or so, I've been trading exclusively the NAS. And I said, I saw something. So I jumped in and, I got kicked out early on the first trade. And he's like, well, why didn't, and I said, oh, I got, 20 on the NAS. And he's like, well, you're the only one, you were in there. He said, well, how come you didn't let it go longer? And of course, then I had jumped back in anyway by that point. But the thing of it is that, but that was just all him because I was watching, doing what he does, where if it's going to go above this point, or if it's going to break this EMA or this BRN, then I'm going to go in. And that's what I did. I have my preset stop. I have my finger on the button. So if it retreated a lot real quick, I could just knock out. And if I had to go back in, I could. Well, it actually ran quick and hit my take profit before I could move it up. But you know what? That's a good problem to have.
That's a really good problem.
Yeah. That's
Love
awesome.
that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and what was your take profit at, by the way? What do you have your take profit?
I set it at 20 pips. It's just automatic at 20. And then, from there, I will move it up because there are times or I'll set it on whatever the EMA or whatever the EMA or the signal is or BRN, whatever it is. And then if it touches it, then I've got my profits preserved because a lot of times, as we know, it'll touch it and then retreat. Yeah. And you're like, well, why didn't I hit the button then,
So basically back in October, this is why he has the nickname Yoda. Back in October, he was looking at this UK 100 market, okay, which is also known as FTSE, FTSE. And so he actually called back in October. He said, hey, look, this is going to go to 10,000. What was it? It was like 920 something. Okay. So, and you can see the little wick at the end up here. This is a daily chart. So each one of these bars is a day since October. Okay. So that you can see how, but he saw this dip in October and this is actually for those of you that know trading, that's actually a double bottom. And that's part of why he called it. So he said, hey, listen, this would be a buy and it's going to go all the way up to 10,920 something at some point. And so sure enough, we just kept monitoring it and watching it slowly creep up. We had this little dip here, but it was still just a pullback and then it continued to go up. And then finally, I think it was last week, it actually hit that target. And if somebody was trading our normal $20 a pip, that's how much money that person would have made since October is $81,720. And so very, very impactful. And he does these. He did one on Dow towards the end of last year as well that met the criteria he was looking for. It was a huge trade. So every year there's some kind of big long play that he calls out. That's really wise of us to listen to. And it's just him. Like he'll downplay his abilities, right? He's really good at being humble, but this is insane. And it's really in a positive way. And this is why we call him Yoda, because it's like, how did you know that? And like Travis was saying with Bitcoin, he does it with Bitcoin and, he's just really good at seeing the charts and analyzing them for probabilities.
So one of the things that we are in discussions about is to have a bell in the toolkit that is going to go off to let us know when to enter and a bell to let us know when we've hit target. And so who here, drop a 1 in the comments if that's something that you'd like to have at your disposal. Only 4 people so far.
There it goes.
Oh, okay. All right. Was anybody sleeping on that one, by the way? So, like, if you had a bell that told you to click a button to make 81,720. Okay. All right.
In 6 months, not even. Harry, your take profit is 20. What's your stop loss?
10 pips.
Nice.
Occasionally I will flirt with 15, but that's kind of my fail safe.
So is it always 10 no matter what?
That's what I go in with my presets. Occasionally I might slide it if it looks like it's a little bit jump, but I never had that be successful. And at 10, if the market moves the wrong way, you're at least getting out. So it's a whole lot better to lose a little bit than a lot.
That's awesome.
It's a great way to look at it. We have very simple logic here. Okay. A small loss is better than a big loss. A 0 is better than a loss. A small win is better than a 0, and a big win is better than a small win. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
If you lose, how many do you allow yourself to lose for a day before walking away?
If I lose 2 trades, I'm out. I try not to. I have done 6, but I typically try just to do 5 trades a day. But if I'm successful in 1, I'm done. So.
Okay, so you also have so the maximum loss you have is 2, and
yes.
You could take up to 5.
No, I won't take 5, but I'll take a total of 5 trades. Yes,
but that's what I'm saying. Is
yeah.
that you're not counting a break even in that? You're like,
because what ends up happening is if you when I take, for me, if I take more than 2, and I learned this through paper trading. If I take more than 2 losses, I want to keep trading to win the money back. It's like a game then, and that is the worst thing you can ever do. Over trading, because then then it's emotional. It's not. There's no plan to like hitting the button, because you can hit that button all day long.
Yeah, 100%. 2 is great. We do recommend a 3-strike rule, but 2 is even better. If you know yourself and you know that's your limit, that's perfect. I have a rule, for example, and the guys know this. On one of my sessions, I ended on a loss. This was a few weeks ago, and part of that is I actually was up. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. This wasn't on my session. This was a James session. I was up over 20 pips, and I have a rule where if I go up over 20 pips, I'm done for the day. If at the end, if I close a trade and I'm up over 20 pips, close it. I'm done. And this one I was up like 25 and I didn't close it. And that day I ended minus 10, because I kept trading, gave it back, Yeah. Luckily, once I hit minus 10, I had the discipline to walk away, because that could be a very tempting situation. But yeah, very good. I love that rule.
Well, and I've listened, if you listen to James, and the great part is when as part of this, you can actually listen to the old sessions where he does trading. He is in and out of lots of trades, but he's been doing it for a long time. And so he'll be like, that's a 2-pip loss. That's a 3-pip gain, but I'm not counting as a session trade. But we're not there. I'm not there. And at one time I was thinking, oh yeah, well, this would be great. I can just come in and out all I want. But the bottom line is, when you get that thinking animal into play here, then that's where you start losing money.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a gift for everyone, for specifically those that are not members. For those that are members, you guys get way more education.
This is for, let me get that up on screen here, and we're going to toss it over to Mr. Travis Hunter Hennigan on this one.
It's pretty simple, like Brian said. This is for people who are not a member with us yet. We're going to give you access to the blueprint, which is going to be the very thing that we outline for the consistency that James and our team has, and how you can do it too. So it's a really, really brief, complete deep dive into exactly how we do this, and why it's been working for over 20 years. So when you do this, though, when you go through the blueprint, we're also going to give you an option to be able to get access to some of the tools that we have in our toolkit. Okay, so include our trading plans, our payout plans, our business plans, tracking and insights so that you can identify blind spots and such, and also intelligent scheduling so that you can fit it to what your life already looks like, and you're not missing out on high probability setups. And so if you want access to find out exactly how we're doing all of these things that we discussed on the call, and to have access to the toolkit and such as well, go to toolkit.tradeca.co/Yoda. Just down there on the bottom of the screen, if you can see that, right? Really big letters. Go there and you can sign up and get instant access to the toolkit. There's going to be a checklist that you need to go through. And so if you want to be able to keep access to the toolkit, and we're very strict about this, and we'll explain it inside there why we do it this way. But if you want access, then you need to follow all of the rules inside, right? So for the basic 3 steps is you sign up on the link. It's the toolkit.tradeca.co/Yoda. And sign up there, complete the blueprint in full. It's about 90 minutes in total. You can, start and pause if you need to. But then on step 4, it is time to book. And then of course, you'll need to attend your transformation call with one of us. Now, this is only open for Friday and Saturday right now with what we're going to offer as far as the blueprint and the toolkit. And then the next slide, whoever can click that for me. This is 48 hours for Friday and Saturday. We're going to give you 33% off, and we have 10 seats available right now to be able to fill. And our goal is to fill all of those seats this week so that we can focus the rest of the month just with our students and being prepared for the rest of the year too, making 2026 great. So it is first come, first serve. So go ahead and jump on to toolkit.tradeca.co/Yoda and sign up, go through the checklist and make sure that you reserve your spot, because if there are no availabilities left, it's because you took too much time. So this is going to be full access to the blueprints and, of course, the toolkit and the official launch that we're doing. We're in the transition of right now. Friday, Saturday only, toolkit.tradeca.co/Yoda. Go ahead and come sign up.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's great. And listen, you get to be front line for this disruptor. You get to be front line for this community. And one of the things that I also am looking forward to is a little bell. And we've been having more of these things happen, but a bell that's going to help us and your coaches know that you hit your first 15K. Why is that important? Because as you come in here, we've actually got what we're working on right now in the toolkit is the Xfolio program. What is the Xfolio? Well, actually, before we dive into that, I think what you should do maybe really quickly, Travis, if you can get it up on your screen, can we highlight all of the free kind of like outline of books that we want people to go through? Because I kind of like to walk them through a little bit of the intentionality here, because genuinely, you're here to drive more impact and income, but intentionally. And most people have no idea that, while you're getting that up there, Travis, I'll explain a little bit. No, most people have no idea that in your process of signing up for this, that what you're investing into this, if you do it properly and you file it properly, shouldn't actually cost you any money. If you file it properly with your CPAs and get everything aligned properly, and you file it accordingly, and if we go in here, you'll see that there's a book here, the Home-Based Business Guide to write off almost anything, that yellow one on the right there, Business Guide to Write Off Almost Anything by Doug Collins. You'll keep more money once you know these tax secrets. Okay, you can see there's a ton of wealth secrets in this library that you're going to get free access to. And these are important pieces of the equation. Because right now, we're registered in Wyoming. We've got a C Corp in Wyoming. We've got 2 DBAs in Wyoming. We've got an investment company in Wyoming, investment company here in Canada. We've got 2 LTDs in Canada and going on our first registered charity. Okay, that seems like a lot. It seems crazy. Let me ask you this. Mr. Elon Musk has how much more time in the day does Elon Musk have compared to everyone else?
His day is 28 hours long.
Is it 28? And that's his secret? Okay. Super simple. So the intentionality behind this process is we'll talk about it one-on-one when you set up a call with us on how you can structure that properly. But there are some serious wealth secrets on how you can leverage where you're at, depending whether you're a 1099 or a W-2. And then at the point that you do hit your first 15K with trading, it's going to be important for us to help you structure properly. And you might end up with multiple structures at some point, and you might end up turning some of your passions into profits. and have I love sitting down with people who have a genuine vision to make the world a better place. And they start talking about the ways that they want to be a lot more generous. Or we're going to show you ways that you can not only drive more impact and income so you can do more of the things you love with the people you love most, but to a point where your cup is overflowing and you're going to be able to go outward. Not only just have to think inward, but think a little bit more outward. There's a lot of things happening in the world today. We're not going to drive into all the politics and all of the fear mongering of what's happening here at all. We're not going to touch on that. The reality is that you have the ability to actually create containers, safe containers in your life that are going to help the people that you love most. And it's more than just you. You were created for more than just your thoughts and your dreams are meant to go impact the people around you. And we love having those conversations. We love helping people guide them through that process. Okay, so one foot in front of the other, become a profitable trader. Let's talk about your goals and your dreams and what you're looking to achieve on your transformation call and how we can help you back engineer those things so you can not only do more of the things you love with the people you love most, but get to a point where you're actually outwardly able to help not just yourself, but the people around you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye for now. Bye. Cheers.